Freudian Slips with Ollie and Danny.
Hi, Ollie.
Hi, Danny.
How you doing?
Good. How have you
Good.
been?
I'm doing really good, thank you. I'm really excited for today. This is Freudian Slips. This is where we talk about the shrinks, kinks, and things of the mental health field. And today we're going to be continuing our series of watching reality dating shows to see, I don't know, just kind of making our own fantasy thing, just really kind of pulling them apart. I think we're having fun in the summer as we're coming to the end and just, enjoying it. I've been
I
having
love it.
fun.
I feel like a lot of in sessions a lot of times, or just even friends, I think will ask me like, "Oh, have you like seen this movie or seen this show?" And normally it's a lot more serious.
Sure.
And I think it's coming from a like, is that like an accurate depiction of what that's like? Or like, I don't know, what do you think? Like that seemed like really extreme. Like it's always kind of heavier or more intense.
hmm
And so I do enjoy watching things like more from a therapist lens that are just not like that. Just so ridiculous in a sense. I've really enjoyed this.
Good. So today, this week, we're actually talking about Are You the One? Are You the One? Which is not called the perfect match, which is already
Which is
something
confusing.
yes, which is very confusing. But we're talking about Are You the One? So let me give you the rundown of how this show works. The way that this show works is you have a number of contestants that all show up on an island. The majority of these seasons have been shot somewhere in Hawaii. The premise of the show is that all of the contestants have been interviewed by relationship experts. The relationship experts have also had extensive interviews with their family members, with their friends, and with their exes so that they can see who would be their perfect match.
Just to add into, I believe there are also, I saw that there were personality tests, whatever that
Yeah.
means, and questionnaires for
Yes.
people. So it's interviews, questionnaires, personality tests, and they're
Yes.
going to find who your perfect match is, which is confusing, but still the show. Are you the one? Keep going.
Yes. They are going to try to find the one.
The one.
Your job while on this island is to figure out who your perfect match is. The way that they do this is throughout the show, the contestants are going to pair off and do a bunch of challenges. If you win the challenge, you get to go on a date with this person, and that gives you some time to kind of talk to them to figure out, your likes, your dislikes, just to see if you guys are a good match or not. Then the rest of the crew is going to vote two people into what they call a truth booth.
I'm sorry. I just really love hearing you describe this because it feels like, I don't know, when like a parent is like explaining to other people, like they figured out like the, present day lingo, and they're like, okay, so this is like this woman would be called a thought, THOT. And so it's just so funny hearing you be like the truth booth.
Are you saying I sound really old?
I think it's just you and me having like not watched these
Yeah.
and finding them like just literally as we're watching, being like, why is this one not called perfect match? I'm confused. These are all, what's going on? And so it's just funny, I think, hearing you and me try and break this down and just like, then there's this thing called the truth booth.
Well, there is this thing called the truth booth, and that is the only for sure way that you can find out if a couple is a perfect match or not. So they send two people in there, special effects happen, and then the screen says perfect match or not a match. They then make their way up to a kind of a lighting ceremony. So at the end of every episode, they end up pairing off one last time, and they all sit together. Then they have these spotlights that shine in the sky. Each spotlight represents a perfect match. So while you don't know who your match is, like you don't know which of the couples that are sitting together are in fact a perfect match, you can at least tell how many matches there are. And so their job is to figure out who their perfect match is and try to get all beams to light up. If they do, then the entire crew wins $1 million. So there is a caveat to this. There is a possibility of a blackout. And so what a blackout is if they happen to get no matches, then they actually get penalized. The crew will lose about $250,000.
Because they start with $1 million, right?
Yeah. And so that is the basic premise of the show. And of course, because I think this is kind of I don't want to say a requirement, but it is a theme that everybody who's brought onto the show tends to have trouble forming relationships.
We saw that in the last show too.
Yeah. And so that is a thing. Like if you suck at relationships, then this is the show for you. So they are on here with the, I don't know, intention, huge air quotes, to kind of change and find someone healthier. But yeah, no. Drama happens day freaking one. And this, which should be the easiest game, this is, we were talking about this one before we were recording. This is definitely, of all the shows that we're going to watch, this is definitely a game show more than it is a relationship show. It is a freaking game that should be beaten in like 3 weeks, but these people are just terrible at staying focused on the game. So that is the basic premise of Are You the One? Just kind of going over some general thoughts. They've had about like 9 seasons of this. The season that I decided to watch for this was season 8. And this one I actually didn't plan on it. I didn't do this purposely. I just went on to Hulu and whatever was the most recent season available, I just started watching it. It just so happens that this was the season where everyone was all sexually and like gendered. Everyone was fluid.
Yeah, I think they call it like the queer season.
Yeah. So like from jump, I really enjoyed it because when thinking about all these shows and like all the ones that we would talk about in the future, I think it is kind of stuck to like mostly men and women, like in cis-het situations, while I think a lot of people can identify as queer, this still like the basic structure of the show is that I'm going to be put in a hetero relationship. So I thought that was really cool to watch.
And it's funny because I ended up watching the same season just because when I Googled it, that was like the longest one and it was like right there. So I was like, okay, great. I'll go with this one. And it took me a minute to be like, got it. Like this is different than, because the only other season I watched was, I think, the first season when it came out during COVID, which is my only introduction to any of these shows. If they were out during COVID, it's probably the only time I saw them. And so initial thoughts, I do love that there was at least like an open representation of queer people. I love seeing, it was cool watching something on TV that I'm like, this would have never been allowed to be on TV, like however many years ago, or still would never be allowed in other places. So that part was very cool. I did like that. As far as like the people go, it's funny, if I take them out of the context of the show, I'm like, they seem like a great time. But in the show, it was just hilarious to me that it's like everyone just is getting in the boom boom room.
Yeah.
I was telling Danny before this, I don't even like watching porn. So like this was far too much for me. I was like, we can just show all of this. Okay, and just also like the amount of times one person would be in the boom boom room. I was like, wow, oh God, you're going back? Like, are you tired? Are you sore? What'd you do in there the first time? Like I was just like very like too many trips to the boom boom room for me. Then other things that were like very random, but yeah, at the going into the truth booth, just 9 seasons in, right? I'm just thinking there had to have been a time where the person working for the show, those can't be that high of paid people. What if someone put the wrong button? Like they were a match, but then they said no, or they weren't and they said yes. I just wonder behind the scenes, I'm like, how did they fix that? Or like, so then what happened? And like that poor person for sure got fired. But I'm just, so like things like that. The beams, why? I get drama, but I just like picture any part of this being pitched. And they're like, someone else in the room is like, there is a show called Perfect Match. And they're like, are you the one? I don't know. Look up synonyms. And then just like the beams. It's like, why not have a full like mariachi band? And just like, if there's only one match, you just get the guitar that's like, or the trumpet that's just like, oh, and that's it. But if you get multiple matches, you get like a serenade of different instruments. I'm like, I think it just could have been better than these like beams. I'm like, what the fuck's the point of the beams?
It's simple.
And they don't spell anything. I don't know if the beams were like the number of couples and it spelled like you win.
It's just the number of couples.
Anything, yeah. Or it spelled, are you the one? Exclamation. I don't know. But it was just, it didn't do anything. They're just beams.
Yeah, they signify if there are in fact perfect matches in the ceremony.
Well, yeah, but that could have been anything.
It could have.
He could have literally just, but there could have been really dramatic music and he could have been like, for? You know, it's like, it could have been anything. So the beans
yeah.
were odd to me. I'm just like, who pitched this? I don't know. Also, just the idea, like, are you the one? I don't know. To me, it implies, like, can there only be one? Does that mean that we only think there's one specific match for different people?
Mm-hmm.
They're getting matched based on, like we said, these elusive, like, oh, like interviews and this and that. But what if who you are outside of a game show makes it a little difficult to find your match that's on a game show?
Yeah, I think that is like my first and most long-standing issue and annoyance when I was watching this show. I've seen a few seasons just in the past passively,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems to be no different here. You had mentioned that they do interviews, that they do tests, that they do questionnaires, but like specific, like what are they looking for when they do these things? I don't know. And so what bothers me throughout the whole thing is like, and I kept saying this time and time again to my wife every single time they matched up this and that. My whole thing was like, but how are they getting this information? Like, what are they using to decide if one person is a match for another? Because here's the weird thing. They know. All the contestants know that they suck at relationships. And yet they go in and they say, I'm going to do things differently and I'm going to follow my heart. What does that mean? I'm pretty
I don't
sure
think
you.
that's doing anything different.
Yeah, that sounds like the exact same thing that you've been doing out there. Like, are you telling me that you're a heartless person and that you haven't been following your heart?
Did you see the part where I think his name was Max and it was the longer blonde-haired woman? And when
Okay.
he's realizing,
Yeah.
because he just found out him and Justin are not a match, devastated. Which, like, that part, I'm like, oh, like, if real connections are formed, and I will say that compared to Too Hot to Handle, when people did make real connections on this show or really felt like someone was their match, it felt like more than a loss of a game show. If it was like, no, like, how could we not be? Like, something felt genuine there. Maybe just incredible acting. If so, awards should be given. Like, they were great. Also, love that not that these people were not beautiful, but I like that they seemed like more accurate representations of like people you might just know. So I appreciated that.
I really appreciate that.
But when that guy was like freaking out and he's like, I know we're a match, and people are like, why? And he's like, I have trauma, and she is so patient. Or it's like loyalty. And I'm like, this is wild. Not that that couldn't be, but I think there's so many things of like, okay, yeah, like that could be a good balance. Or as couples therapists, it's like I think I see all the time where in one situation, a certain dynamic might be horrible for people, but in a different situation, it actually balances each other very well. I don't think that that means that there's like a specific formula. And so I just love these people that are on there and they're just so confident. And it's like, yes, like you're loyal. I'm loyal. And traumatized.
Yeah.
Like, it's you. It's like, what?
Yeah, that is a huge theme that I see not only in this show, but in like every other relationship show. I find it so interesting how one of the first conversations everyone seems to have is their trauma. Like, this is what I went through. This is how hard my life was. And then immediately the other person is like, oh my gosh, my life was hard too. Are you the one? Like, are you my perfect match? And it's like, why is that a good story to start off with?
That's not how you dated as a therapist?
No. No, is that how you dated? Do you?
No. If anything, I'm like, bitch, I'm not trying to tell you anything about myself. I don't know who you are, fucking weirdo.
Yeah, I think that's so weird that people will start. I mean, again, this is recorded. We're just shown what we're shown when we're shown it. So I don't know when they actually start having these conversations, but I find it to be a very interesting decision as to why you would want to share your deepest, darkest trials as a way to just get to know someone. Like at the beginning, that's weird to me.
It was a lot. It was a lot. So it was again, I like the representation of, I think the person on the show was Kai, that you can have an open relationship or that some people don't want to be monogamous. Like I get it. We are sex therapists. I get it. But the amount of times there'd be someone that was like, Kai, why'd you do that? Yeah. I told you I would not be okay with that. And Kai was like, I told you I was going to do it. And I'm like, this is not how this should be communicated. And
I
also,
love
you're
that you're
doing
bringing
these
that up.
things in front of other people, like literally in front of other people.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't even imagine being like I'd be so uncomfortable.
I really, really do love that you're bringing this up, because this does touch on a real issue
Yeah.
that at least I deal with a lot in the therapy room, and that is consensual non-monogamy, or like open relationships. And so Kai in this show is I think it's fair to call them a transgendered person. So they were biologically born female, and they've had top surgery, which means to remove like the breasts.
And people on the show referred to Kai as him.
Yeah.
I believe.
And Kai is also doing testosterone injections, so hormone therapy, right? Now, all that aside, this person considers himself to be able to love multiple people at the same time, to have multiple relationships. Now, this is a super interesting thing, because I would not consider this person to be a polyamorous person. The way that this person showed up and handled themselves and handled their relationships really speaks more to someone who just doesn't know how to be in relationships and is using polyamory as almost like a get out of jail free card. Like, well, you don't understand. I find this person attractive and I want to go have sex with them. And I go, like, that's just who I am. Like, I got to do this and got to do. But while you're doing it, you're not forming any deep relationships. You're not actually, honoring that other person and how
There's no
they want.
rules.
Yeah, there's
or
not
agreements.
Yeah, none of that. And so I actually think that's like something really interesting. How many times, this is a question for you, how many times do you run into people who are claiming to be in open relationships or consensually non-monogamous, and you can kind of tell like, this is not actually the relationship style for you. This is a get out of jail free card.
See, it's funny. I think I've gotten more. I've had a few couples that have like operated that way for a very long time, and we don't even touch on it in therapy. It's like not why they're in therapy. The couples that I have worked with, probably like over 5 under 10, that want to open the relationship. And even if it's something like threesomes, and it's like, okay, we've decided we would be interested in this. And the more that we tactfully try to kind of like go down this path together, I don't think any of them ever went through with a threesome. And I've actually had multiple of them be like, actually, I think we just like talking to people and like meeting up for a drink or something to like, like talk about having a threesome. And then we just go home and have sex and it's really nice. And like, we don't want to have a threesome with this person. And so I think what a lot of people, or maybe it's in the culture, I don't know, but I think there's something about the younger generation that's talking about this stuff more and like outwardly and publicly, which again, it's like a part of me likes. Like these things don't need to be so taboo and crazy, but I don't know why. I think it's because I'm a school psychologist. I want to make this analogy, but I'm not trying to compare them to special education. But in my head, I just think how like schools operate, where between it's like 1% to 4% of your school is probably like special needs or like special education 504 kiddos. And if it's way above that, just statistically, you're like, something's off here. Whether it's like in how we're testing or identifying kids, like there's just stats. It just makes sense. It's how this stuff works. And so I think a part of me feels very similarly about these kinds of relationships. I don't think they need to be like hidden in the dark and taboo. But like, I don't think we'll ever get to a world where like 25% of relationships are consensual non-monogamy. I just don't. I don't think it works for most people. That does not mean that who it does work for or when it works, no judgment. That's awesome. I'm just saying, I think there's just some stats around these things that I don't think are going to be like blown out of the water because we talk about it more. But I do think it's glorified maybe a little bit in a way where people just see the fun and the excitement of like you can keep the spark alive, like invite people in, it's fun, the orgy scene in the show. But again, like these people aren't really dating, like they're, so again, it's no judgment against it. Like you and I work with couples like this all the time, absolutely. What I have noticed working with couples who are either in it or who are thinking about getting into it is it's not this like fun, sexy, like it can get there, but it's almost overly communicating about things. It's constant check-ins. it's agreements, it's all the stuff that by the time you get there, most couples are like, meow, like this is not what we thought it would be, like this is not fun and flirty. And it's like, yeah, no, because we're not trying to implode your marriage while we do this, you know. It's like you have to approach it a certain way. And so I think I get the idea. And I'm not saying it's bad. I love it for people. That's fantastic. But you're right. I think like Kai in the show, and by default also being someone that's like, I've struggled with relationships, or like, it's like, well, then maybe just like wanting to sleep with everyone and telling yourself it's because you're polyamorous. It doesn't mean you're not. But I don't think in this context, you're kind of like using these terms, right? Or like to describe what you're doing in a way that I think professionals would necessarily agree with.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you in everything that you're saying. Relationships, whether they be with one person or with multiple people, should still have a degree of health, communication, boundaries, and values. Like that doesn't go away. And I think that that's actually I believe that is a misconception or an odd understanding that a lot of people will have about us as professionals, like being sex therapists. And it's something that I run into often when people are calling and they know that I'm a sex therapist and they want to understand before they sign on. One of their worries is that we condone or we kind of accept every facet or form of sexual expression in it. And I will tell them, it's like, I think that that you can find health in almost any kind of relationship you have, but that doesn't mean every relationship you can think of is innately healthy. The reason why I believe you in that, I don't think in X amount of years, 25% of the population will be polyamorous. The reason why I agree with that number or that idea is because building a relationship with one person is so freaking difficult.
I get so excited about this. I feel like it's getting harder. And we've touched on this, I think, in previous episodes or just even on like asides during our lunches, where we've talked about how quickly you can connect with people and you can find anything to be like, ew, you like green? Like, I don't trust it. And you know, it's like you can find anything to be like, next. It's hard enough to make a genuine connection with one person.
Yes.
And now you want to, not only you need to find someone else to have that deep of a bond with, or just some form of connection, whatever type that might be for you in the relationships you're looking for, but then you also want to make sure that that other partner is okay with it. Or maybe you don't want to make sure, and then that probably isn't going to last either. You know, it's like, so there's so many, it just seems like such a unicorn to like find situations where this works really well for people.
Yes. Yeah. The level of communication and understanding and everything that goes into one relationship is compounded exponentially when you start bringing in other people. I think a lot of people will have the misconception that the reverse is actually true, that the amazing thing about being polyamorous is that the need for communication, boundaries, and fill in the blanks is actually lessened. It's like, no, when you start bringing in real people with real feelings, you know, really trying to build connections in life, you have to increase your ability to maintain all of those things, which is why I wouldn't want anybody watching this season, while I think it does a lot of things right, and it's a beautiful representation of the queer community in many aspects, I wouldn't want anyone to watch this show and walk away thinking that this is a healthy depiction of polyamory, that this is what we should striving for. If we just took away the drama, the basic concept of what we saw was right. I'm still kind of like, no on that one. I think that this was someone who was really struggling with themselves, not like sexually, but just like themselves as a person in relationship. I think that they might have, you know, been kind of on a roller coaster of hormones because they were injecting themselves with testosterone on the show. And so that is probably doing some stuff. It did look like it did make them a lot more hornier the first night, and then just running with that. So this is a very unique situation. Please don't look at that as a healthy representation of polyamory. That's not what we're talking about when we deal with it in the room.
Okay. What's your next point, Danny, or your next question? Because I feel like you had such a good outline for this one.
Yeah. So number one, you've mentioned this a couple of times. They have a boom boom room.
A boom boom room. I need someone going in there and cleaning after every boom boom.
Oh no.
Like, there's so many things that A, just make me feel old, and B, like, a boom boom room, I think I'd be less inclined to have sex with someone. And these, they're just going at it.
So for those of you guys who haven't caught on yet, this is unique. I actually haven't seen this in any other show, and I guess if I had to...
Well, they'll have like a honeymoon suite, but I don't think you can just access a room like at any given time.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for making that distinction. Yes, other shows have like honeymoon suites and like special dates where they can go off and be by themselves.
Yeah.
This, and I guess the question that I'll ask you at the end is, do you think that this is something you would want on a show, like on our show? Is it important? But what is the Boom Boom Room? It is literally a room in the villa, just easily accessible at all.
It's right next to the kitchen, in case you're wondering.
And if you're feeling frisky, if you wanted to have sex with anybody, you can just go in to the Boom Boom Room and do it. Come back out and just go on your merry way. So this show has a Boom Boom Room. What are your thoughts on having a Boom Boom Room? While I don't know how much or I don't know how much on shows like this. I'm wording that wrong. Shows like this, I don't know how often people are having sex.
Yeah.
Even if, like on Too Hot to Handle, you're just sitting on a beautiful resort hotel with the most gorgeous people on earth, you still have all these cameras, and they do some pretty scandalous stuff, but they're all still sharing common space. So I don't know how much people actually have sex on shows like this, but this is rather unique in that they have a room that is almost inviting people to have sex. What are your thoughts on it, and do you think that we should have something like that?
I think a show necessarily has to. I know last week we were saying we liked the idea of no sex, which I still agree with. This show has made me question if like there has to be like straight up no sex, but I think the ability to access a room at any time where, yeah, then you're sleeping in, you're still like commingling and living with all of these people, and you're trying to find the one. Wait, this is Are You the One? You're trying to pick the one. I think the sex is solely for the game show purposes of this. Like, it makes no sense to me why, if you were playing a smart game and trying to figure out who could be your person, why you would need to have sex with everyone in the house. And because it doesn't seem like anyone has based any of their decisions off of this. No one's been like, well, having sex with them was really great, and I think that's how we're compatible, and I think that's why you're the one. So I think a room that you can have access to at any time, although great for television, I don't think makes a lot of sense in terms of trying to figure out who you were matched with. I also do their parents see this? Or like, do people just really not care? Are some people like, Mom, I made it. I'm on it out here and we're gonna win money. And that's great. I was really happy for them when they won. Sorry, spoilers. But I thought that was great. But I'm like, I could never. I get it can't show everything, but it's like I had to look away. I was like, I just wasn't expecting this with like my morning coffee. Like, it was just a lot. And it's like I couldn't like just undress myself and have sex with all these people and be like, I'm having a great time, and know that my parents, my 90-year-old Hispanic grandmother could see that. I don't think I could live with myself.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is just evidence as to why we would never make it on any of these shows.
That's true. I think we'd do good on this one, though, because this one, I think we could go on married, no issues, and we'll just be the strategists. And we can just talk to people and take notes. And then when it comes to like, oh, like, okay, my next person's Kai. Where's Kai? And like, oh, Kai's in the Boom Boom Room. And I'm like, Kai was in the Boom Boom Room last time I tried to talk to him. And they're like, no, he's in there with Justin now. And I'm like, God damn it, okay, fine, I'll circle back to Kai. You know, it's like, I think I would just go interview everyone and try and figure out spreadsheet status, who should go with who. So this one I actually think we'd never be accepted on. We'd be horrible for television. But you and me could do great on this one, even being married. And we could do great.
Yes. Taking on to the next point is I am so frustrated with this show because of how emotionally stubborn everyone is. If I was ever allowed on any of these shows, this would be the one. Because I'd be hearing like just great.
Are you the one? Well, this is the one. You'd
Give
be
me
on this
a
one.
lot of sand and a stick, and I will make a spreadsheet. I will take notes of...
I think they have access to like pens and paper.
I don't fucking...
They're not like, it's not Survivor. Naked and Afraid.
But I don't understand this. Whereas, if we go back to last week, Too Hot to Handle, they are given bracelets and you can make a genuine connection with anyone, right? Here, your perfect match has already been decided before you even show up. That's how they decide the contestants, is these people are a good match, these people, and so we're going to bring them all on the show to see if they can figure it out. It makes zero difference who you're sleeping with, who you're talking to, who you actually end up dating while on the show or after. It makes absolutely no difference. This is 100% a matching game. You need to figure out how they matched and then go and be with whoever you want. That is the most frustrating thing for me watching this entire show, how stubborn everyone was. Like, they would refuse to talk to other people. They would refuse, even if the entire crew was like, this is your match, you need to sit with them. They would be like, I'm gonna follow my heart and I'm gonna pick this guy. And
it's like, this is not like one of the ones that end in an engagement. You don't need to, you can solely just be like, oh cool, yeah, I'll pick you next round because we haven't tried that yet. Like, awesome. While you're still hanging out with this person and you're like, I just would rather talk to them. Or sometimes the devastation behind like, oh, you're not the one.
it doesn't matter.
If they did this show a month or two later, I don't know, maybe they'd have different people that were quote unquote the one. It's like, there's what on earth, what premise are we doing this on? And we know I love a matching show. We already know my favorite, Married at First Sight. We'll get there one day. But like, I think that is done in a way that is not this. And with contestants, or I guess that wouldn't be consent, with participants that aren't trying to have sex with everyone the first day. It's like, hence that show is like, you get married to this person before you ever see them that experts have picked for you. I question how maybe that same intern that got fired for clicking the wrong button is the one that's actually making some of the pairings, maybe they throw it at a dartboard and just see what happens.
That's what they do, is just see which one it lands on. Like, that's your perfect match. That's fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
And also personality tests. I mean, what are those ones, like IFSJ? Like, is that what we're saying? We're using that?
Does everyone take a Myers-Briggs before they get on the island?
There we go. That's what you and I use all the time. I give every couple I've ever met with a Myers-Briggs test. No, please don't think I do that. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I was talking about this with my wife, and she did bring up a good point. So, if you do end up finding your perfect match explicitly through the truth booth, then what does happen is this couple is actually put onto a separate honeymoon suite.
Oh.
So they actually they live out the rest of the experience away from the rest of the crew. So I can understand how there is a fear of the person you like finding their perfect match, getting thrown into the truth booth, and having them whisked away, and now you lose all contact with them. I could understand that, but this is such a numbers game that if you know for a fact, if you can find out who their match is, you don't have to actually send them into the truth booth.
Mm-hmm.
You can then send in another couple that does want to leave, right? And so again, how many emotional decisions are made throughout the show across every single season is the most entertaining and the most frustrating thing I can witness, because I just can't understand how these people cannot just come together and think about what even makes a perfect match. I don't know, but who are you? Let's talk to this other person, let's sit together, let's do these challenges and pair off together so that we can get thrown in the truth. It's such a simple formula to figuring out how to win this game that one season where they blacked out completely and got 0, they deserved it. Because
I don't know if anyone in there was that good at math, but I think we could have gone a little bit better than.
Yeah, this one bugs me. I don't know why they struggle so much.
Although this one was cool though, because did they mention this at all? I'd assume the stats were harder for them to win because the matches could have been like anyone with anyone pretty much. And so it's cool to me that they did win, even seeing all the ridiculous decisions, in my opinion, that they made. I know I was getting on the producers earlier and how I feel a lot of these things were pitched, but the things that I do love is they'll like plant these like parties or whatever. And so I loved the episode where everyone was like covered in glitter and dressed like mermaids and just fucking freaking out and arguing. And I'm just like, you have people in these like BDSM type outfits and like covered in glitter being like, bitch, I never told you that. I'm like, can we take anyone seriously? I don't know.
That's another thing I always comment on. In any one of these shows, there's always the occasional and obligatory like party, house party. I think that must be the most awkward thing to film, because there's only like 16 people in a room with a bunch of cameras.
The dance scenes get me. Like makes me physically uncomfortable. I speed through them.
I think that's the weirdest thing. I think that is the weirdest thing to film. I can't imagine what it's like to actually be on set and have everyone be like, we'll edit it in post. It's gonna look amazing, but just start dancing. Yeah, it's really weird.
Sorry, random thought too, because I'm thinking about I don't know if this helps anyone out there, but in case anyone thought it was normal that you could have sex with that many people, and again, we don't know timelines really, how long they're there, how much sex they're having, but for anyone else wondering, like, wow, none of them get UTIs or yeast infections, and it's like, there has to be. And even if they're not, I'd like to throw out there that'd be totally normal if you were having sex with different people, especially in a short time span, to get a UTI or a yeast infection of sorts. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, I think these are, I mean, obviously the show's not going to touch on this. It doesn't make for great television, obviously. But I think those are other things that watching now as an adult, I'm like, damn, how do they take care of themselves if like something happens? Or they get like itchy? Or how do we know we're preventing? I mean, they have to sign things that are like, if you get pregnant, it's on you. Or maybe that are like, you have to use contraception when you are in the boom boom room. But it's so complicated. Like, there's so many nuances here.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but no, I think that's a really good point. I have to believe that people are signing their lives away for any of this. Like, if you cross that threshold, then you are on your own, kind of thing. And I would like to believe that people are tested for this kind of stuff, not to assume that you're going to have sex, but this is the show. We're all adults. Like, we need to make sure that everyone's as healthy as they can be. So I'm pretty sure they have to show like a clean bill of health.
I would think so. Have you and your wife seen Poop Cruise yet?
No.
Oh, great watch. It's just a one episode thing. It's a boat. It was a cruise. The power went out, and so toilets didn't work. Hence Poop Cruise. Oh, yeah. And people tried to hold on. It's a great little fun watch. But the best part is the whole time we were watching, we were like, oh, these people got payouts. Like, this is crazy. And then at the very end, sorry, another spoiler today. But at the very end, they tell you, it's like, oh, no. The waivers they signed, or whatever that's called, the, like, liability stuff they signed, was straight up like, we don't promise safe travel. Yeah. And it's like, what?
Yeah, pirates might come.
Yeah. It's literally like, you could die. And it's like, you have to say, okay. Yeah. And it's like, oh my God. So I wonder if these shows are similar. It's just like, you could implode, you could have a baby right after the show ends. Not on us. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you signed it. But if they're anything like the people on Poop Cruise, good on whoever wrote those contracts.
Yeah, great lawyers. Another thing that I find super funny on shows like this is how often the participants get it wrong in the terms of, like, have you ever noticed when people flirt back and forth and they're like, oh my God, like you just have so much, they hear your story and this is where I come from and this is what it was like for me, and then the other person like, you really just have so much to prove. No, I don't have anything to prove to anyone. Oh yeah, you don't have anything. How many times they would get it wrong? You're so strong. No, I'm so soft. You know, you're so this. Well, actually, no, I feel like that. Just the amount of times it almost seems as though people have their lines in their head. They're kind of just, this is what I say to get someone, and I'm not actually paying attention to the conversation. So I just found that funny, just how many times two people were in a conversation trying to connect and they were just on completely different boats.
Danny, it makes me think about in therapy. I don't know if your class where like the really fundamentals of like just learning how to be a therapist. Like the only class we ever freaking get like this, where you have to just like sit across from someone and like really practice. And it was like taking what they're saying and repeating it back to them. But like getting, it's like, let's say they're crying, but you're kind of able to be like, okay, so you're really mad. It's like trying to really piece through what's the emotion there. Sometimes it is sad, but I'm just saying, it's like, that's like our whole job is people tell you something and you're like, are you resentful? Like, is there resentment there from that? It's like half the time, I think even if people don't really know, it's like you're trying to piece out how they're saying it and through what they're saying, what they might really be feeling or what they're experiencing to help them process it. And some of these people, it would like remind me of being in those and imagine someone in front of you like crying and let's say like family death. Oh, woe is me. And they're just like, but you're like excited to take over their room though. Like, right? You said they had the bigger room. And they're like, no. Like, I'm bawling and I'm devastated. And they're like, oh, okay.
I can see
that.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's fair.
Yeah.
You're just like, what are we doing? And so yeah, it is very funny to me when it's like so off, because we learn you can be a little off. It still helps people. If you're like, oh, like you're just devastated, and sometimes it's like, well, I don't know, like I've been devastated before. And I don't think this is devastated. I'm really, really depressed about it. I don't know why. So it's like you missing can still totally help people get there. But when you're just like far off, so far off, you're just like, oh, so you're like kind of a narcissist. Yeah. And they're like, no, I'm like, I genuinely care so much about others that I have no boundaries for myself. Like, what? No. So that is kind of, I feel bad saying it's comical, but I think there's a part of me that does always hope, like, these people are different in their day-to-day, and this was how they were depicted on what I consider to be a game show. And so hopefully they're not like this in their real day-to-day. But yeah, definitely listening to respond versus listening to understand.
Yeah, 100%. So moving on, talking about the relationship experts in this show. So in Too Hot to Handle, they have a couple of relationship experts that show up to...
The relationship experts were on Poop Cruise. Ba-dum-bum.
These experts show up to lead the contestants through some intimacy exercises to help them work through their stuff, right? Mm-hmm. In this show, they have one, or at least in the season that we saw, they have one relationship expert that actually shows up in every single episode. So while in Too Hot to Handle, especially in the later seasons, it seems as though the experts really only showed up when the participants were really starting to go off the rails and lose focus. Here, in every episode, and so I guess like within every week, they always had the relationship expert come in, kind of debrief and talk about how the week's been going, and to give them some words of advice. And so I actually really like that the relationship expert was spending more regular time with the participants compared to Too Hot to Handle. I think that that's something important. If this is a social experiment to help you find out, who the one is for you, who is your perfect match, then I think it is important to be guided by someone who's a relationship expert, someone who's supposed to be helping you find this insight. The majority of the time, they're just kind of left to their own devices to figure things out on their own with no skills whatsoever. And so I really appreciated that the relationship expert here in this show showed up a lot more regularly.
Agreed. I think the consistency, I definitely agree with as like for our show. Consistency versus like just popping in when things start to go awry. But again, I think the premise of both of the casts have been people that are clearly like, I'm really bad at this. And It's like, well, I think if anything, there should be like way more, almost like a whole education piece or something at the beginning. And then letting them go, and then the weekly check-ins or something. But in this show, I almost felt it was like it didn't quite fit. Maybe I wish that was in Too Hot to Handle or some of the other shows I'm sure we'll go over.
Sure.
Versus this one, because this one felt like a freaking game show. And it didn't feel like anyone was truly that passionate about like finding their person. They'd have like connections with people for a little bit and like, but like they did not seem anywhere near, if it was all for show, Too Hot to Handle or some of these other ones do make it feel like the people are really looking, and that's the main idea. This one is like you win $1 million, and granted that can go down, but like there is a huge prize pot you are working for, and it's a strategy based, well, I guess all of them could technically be considered strategy based, but this is like a puzzle that you're trying to solve.
No, I really, really appreciate that point, because if we were to then try to make this better, because I do agree with you, it does kind of seem out of place when this primarily feels like a game show, not a relationship show. And so I would rather, if they win challenges, to be given as a reward some kind of insight into how they're making the matches, to help give them some kind of information to start piecing the puzzle together. And if there is a relationship expert, again, I would like them to be giving out kind of hints, or this is what we're looking for, or this is, let's remember one of the biggest questions that we asked on this interview. How should we be kind of looking or reflecting on this? Okay, now go and talk to everyone. I think that there should be more guidance into how they're pairing them off. I think this would severely cut down on the time, because then people would find out that this is a very, very simple game that you can win. But outside of that, the boom boom room and the relationship expert now start to kind of feel a little auxiliary rather than integral to the show.
That was a great word. Okay, this is where I wanted to share with you my idea of the matchmaking. So how I think this show should go is each time they're matched completely differently. Maybe sometimes they're all parents or something, and like they let their kids decide. Or maybe they match everyone whose moms were born within a 5-mile radius of each other. Maybe one time they just invite someone on the street on whatever substance they're on to be like, put these people in matches. And so not only do they have to figure out the match, they also need to figure out who matched them, or like what the matching rule was. Maybe it's people that were born blonde that like as they got older, like their hair wasn't blonde anymore. Like whatever. It could be like the stupidest shit. But I think that should be the puzzle. But I think get people in there that are also maybe a little bit more, like instead of all the themes being like, I suck at dating, and that's who they're putting on these shows, get people that are just good at random fucking puzzles. Like get the guy that's like, I can solve a Rubik's Cube in 4 seconds. And then get someone else that's like, I'm really good with maps. Like I've memorized maps and I can tell you the fastest way to get anywhere in the continental US because I'm so good with maps. Like just get people that are good at weird different kinds of puzzles. Get a professional puzzler and like just get them on there to figure out the clue of why they're mad.
I think that'd be fun. This is definitely a game show. I think that'd actually be cool. Like,
Thank you.
Did we go off the parents? Did we go off the family members? Did we go off the friends or the exes?
Did we truly just match based on Myers-Briggs? Or like those things that are like, wow, your Capricorn would balance so good with his Leo. Maybe it's truly that. It's like we went full zodiac signs. I don't know. Astrology? We went full astrology. Like, who knows? But I think that could be, or they took everyone's favorite color and they only matched people that when those two colors are mixed together, make another color. That isn't like army green or like poop black. It's like it makes like a fun color. Who knows? The possibilities are endless. Danny and I are always open to new positions. We love having different things going on in our spheres. If anyone is like, wow, we should hire them. They'd have better ideas than Beams or, names of shows that are interchangeable, essentially. You should contact us.
Yeah, send us an email.
We put our email in there. Please, feel free.
So let's go in. I have a few questions for you to kind of bring us towards the end of the episode and give some good, honest, semi-professional reflection. Again, we're not your therapist. We're just talking.
But we're someone's.
Yeah.
Whether that's scary to you or not.
And so I actually wanted to start off by going back to last week. Too Hot to Handle. Sex was a big point of the show, or a big theme. And so my question to you is, do you think in building a relationship, do you think waiting to have sex is helpful? Is that a good idea? Should people be waiting to have sex? when trying to figure out if they want to be in a committed relationship with someone?
I feel like these are those questions that seem simple, but I feel like they're not simple. I think it depends. Like if I've had clients who ask me that, especially clients that are like navigating dating. And then I think we spend like the entire session where it's like, okay, well, like what makes you ask that? And like, do you feel like you've rushed into it in the past? Like, I think some people genuinely are like, Ollie, I am down to get laid. I know this, but like we have talked, they're clean, I'm clean, like they sent it to me, whatever. It's like if they feel fully comfortable with it and they know that's a part of what they want to do that day, or it's something that didn't just like happen, that they're like, shit, I've told myself I wouldn't do that. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to this. I think in some situations you can have sex too quickly. And I don't think that that's something that we can like clearly define, in my opinion. I think it's in the aftermath of it, some people being like, shit, this happens every time. I know I get really attached. Then I stop acting like myself or whatever it might be, right? So it's like, yes, I think there can be a too early. I think there can also be a too late, because I respect people that for religious or other reasons want to wait until marriage. I just think it's a bold move to not have sex with the person that you might want to have sex with the rest of your life until after you've committed your life to them. That just feels like crazy in my eyes. But again, it's not to judge anyone that does that. It's just like, whoa, that's putting a lot on that afterwards, especially if something might be going on, or maybe that isn't going to be the most compatible intimate relationship. And so I think it's kind of like a spectrum. And I think there could be a too early, there could be a too late. And I think everyone's kind of metric is different. And so they need to find what works best for them. So I answer this question in kind of a non-answer, where I feel like I would have to ask my clients so many questions. And we'd go into like what makes you think that? Like maybe there are patterns with these things in the past. What we know sex might mean for them. If sex is something that's like very loaded and traumatic, and it's like, yeah, okay, maybe we want to hold off for a little while, but maybe they haven't had some of those experiences, and it's a part of what helps them kind of figure out if they can really connect with this person. I think the way it's done on these shows is different, and that should be taken out of the picture for a little while. But I don't think there should be any like rule of like, oh, you can't have sex on a first date or he's not going to be the guy you marry. I've met tons of people that's not true. I've met people that don't have sex until they're married. They've been married longer than tons of other people I know too. It's like, I don't think there's a rhyme or a reason to it. And I think people want an answer. People want, what is the average amount I should be having sex now that I've been married for X amount of time? And it's like, I'm sorry that I'm just going to be the therapist that lets you down and is boring, because like there is no answer to that.
Love it.
Sorry. So that's my boring answer. What about you?
I agree with everything that you're saying. I think that I think that sex is very important, obviously. While I totally respect anyone's decision to refrain from having sex, I don't think that that should equal you refraining from talking about sex.
Yeah.
That is my biggest thing. So, do I think that people need to have sex in order to figure out if they're going to be in a great relationship or not? No. So, I'm totally okay with people waiting until marriage or waiting a significant amount of time committed before they decide to have sex. I'm totally fine with that, because like, what do I want to say? Something that I always tell my people is that no amount of experience with other partners is ever going to teach you how to make love to the person you're with. Are there similarities? Of course. Are there commonalities? Yes. Is this an overgeneralization?
Maybe will you learn things about yourself? Like,
Yes.
like absolutely. But like this will be its own
Yes.
very unique thing.
Right. This is going to be its own thing. And it doesn't, to me, it's not really the most important thing to have sex before you guys get married, or to make sure if this relationship is going to match up. I think what happens is that because we have such poor sex education, so such poor awareness of ourselves as sexual people, that we end up finding this stuff out when we do have sex. And when we wait, then that means that we're figuring all this stuff out, and you are now juggling so many other things at the same time. And so I think, does waiting to have sex help? I think on one end it actually does. I think it's rather important to wait, because you should be able to connect on so many other ways. I believe that sex is a body language. It is a physical conversation. So what you communicate to your partner outside of the bedroom is typically going to follow you inside the bedroom. And so when people, because sex is such an intense experience, when we start off with it, I think we do kind of put ourselves at a disadvantage because we tend to rely on our bodies doing all the talking when we actually really haven't refined the messages ourselves intellectually, emotionally. And so, yeah, I think sex too early in a relationship can often harm more than it helps, but sex waiting until marriage without any exploration of any kind, any conversations, any understanding of our sexual self is also equally, if not probably more so damaging. Because think about people who do wait for marriage, they're also likely coming in with some spiritual or religious views that tell them to do so. And so uncoupling is much harder. They can't just be like, well, this didn't work out. Thanks for trying. On to the next one. They can't do that. And so now they feel really stuck. And yeah, it's very sticky to kind of unwrap and something like that happens. So does waiting to have sex help? I think it does. I think it's a good idea. But what is more important, I would say,
Is
is
talking about it.
talking, is to having
I like
good
that
sex
too.
education.
I like that too. I'd say person to person is how long people want to wait. But no matter how long you take, no matter how long you wait, discussing it beforehand is like a must.
Yes.
Love that.
We are there.
We are
on
there.
the same page there.
That's fun.
I think
Oh,
it's
that was a good one.
question number 2
Oh, I love
is, and I think you kind of already answered this, but here we go.
Okay.
How do you think you would fare on this game show?
I'd love it. I would eat all the snacks. I would hopefully sleep great. They might be loud, too late for me. But I would just run around and try to be friends with everyone. And, well, I mean, not like actively try. I would just want to like talk to everyone and get to know them and kind of try to be a therapist puzzler. And that would just be what I'm going with. But I think I'd love it. This one way more than Too Hot to Handle.
Yeah, this one would be fun.
Yeah, because this seems more like a game show. So
Yeah.
How about you, Danny? How do you think you'd do?
Same thing. I would miss the boat completely and just be focused on trying to figure out who everyone's match is from a game perspective. Every game show, every crew has that one party pooper, that one who's just focused on winning, and that would be me. In this season, it was, coincidentally, another guy called Danny. He was the one that came in that was just like, this is logical. You have to think about it this way. You with the last time when we had these many lights. And for the majority of the season, everyone was shitting on this guy. They're like, shut up. You need to follow your heart. And he's like, that makes no fucking sense. That's how we got here. This is so simple. And it wasn't until the end that they're like, oh my God, he's been right the whole time. And it's like, yeah, of course. That would be me 100%. I would immediately just stand up and be like, I want to figure this out. Who wants to figure it out with me? And whoever raised their hand is probably my perfect match. And I'm like, great. So we got that one just right off the bat.
I wish we could get everyone's like a full cognitive battery on all these people or on every contestant before the show. And then sure, they derive an IQ, which I might be slightly interested in. But it's more about the breakdown of like, I'd love to know like different people's like memory scores and their processing speed and their fluid reasoning. And then just like, if they are the kind of people that are like, follow your heart. And I'm like, I have your freaking, you have a high IQ, bitch. I know that you're just doing this for the show. Or this doesn't make sense. Your ability to reason should be much higher than this. So what are you doing? I think I'd want those sort of tests to really know what's going on when they are kind of acting like this. Because a part of me believes there can't be people like this. There's $1 million on the line. And there's really people that are shitting on Danny and they're like, party pooper. Like, no, I refuse to match with anyone but him. And it's like, okay, then by default, we would lose.
Yeah.
Do we get this? Do we care? Or maybe some people just don't have the ability to think that long term into like how that would affect them and like the rewards that would come, delayed gratification. Maybe they're still kind of at that stage.
I don't know. I think you might be onto something because these people aren't coming in rich. And so they're like, I have a chance at winning $1 million, but I already live on cup ramen. So I don't care if I lose. I came broke. What difference does it make if I leave broke?
Fair, but I guess I don't know. Then I wonder, are you the kind of broke where you're like, I'm chilling? I always know I'll have someone to bail me out if something bad happens, or like what kind of broke? Because I feel like if you're the broke that has known what it's been like to work multiple jobs and still hardly pay your rent, and then you wake up year after year and you're like, oh my God, like I'm getting more and more depleted and I have nothing more to show for it. Like I'm just barely surviving. I'd think that that person would be more motivated to make the right decisions and treat this more like a game that could potentially, because how many people are on it? Like 10? 15?
It varies from season to season. This particular season, I believe, had 16.
All right, that's too fast of math for me. But there was 750,000, 16 people. I have access to a calculator. 700, well, and then also they live in, actually it doesn't matter where you live for taxes for this kind of a thing, or no, is it pretty much like they're taking like 50%?
That's a question I never thought of.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. So 750,000, 16 people. All right, it's not great. It's like 46,875. You're probably walking away with, as a safe number, $23,437.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good. And just imagine if you really are like living paycheck to paycheck, or you've been really struggling. That's either hopefully going to keep you afloat if you could be a little frugal, maybe buy you a single Birkin bag, or if you invested, that could be a lot over years of compounding interest.
What is it to win the million? Because the majority of the seasons have won the million.
They have?
Yeah.
Well, that makes me feel better about the people on it. Okay, a million divided by, what do we say, 16?
Yeah, sure.
62,500, but I'm dividing it by 2 just to be safe in terms of taxes. I think they only take 40-something%, but let's say they take 50. So a solid 31,000. A little over. 31,250. What is so funny?
I love this conversation, but again, this is exactly why when I would never be allowed on any of this show. This is the conversations we'd be having.
And then I was going to say, then what I would do is I'd be like, do you idiots know the difference between if we walk away with $23,000 versus if we walk away with $31,000 in 10 years in the S&P 500? This is how much money we would have. I'm like, so that's not actually just $10,000. We're losing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And they would be looking at you and saying, Kai is in the boom boom room right now waiting to get rammed. So shut up and let me go in there with them. You are not my match. So
they'd be like, we're trying to listen at the door and you're being really loud. I'd be like, do you know how many accessories you could buy for your future boom boom room with this much money?
Yeah.
You'd have to use, see, that's where our psychology, I think, could help. We'd be like, all right, how do we appeal to them? You could buy so many bitches with this much money. You could ball out and bitches would want to sleep with you. Cool people have $31,000. Lame people have $23,000. You know who makes $31,000? People with the biggest dicks. The biggest dicks make $31,000. You only have a micro penis if you go home with $23,000. You gotta get them right at the jugular. What really matters to them, you know? Their ego. We should lie and tell them that they could buy up their IQ score a few points.
That's actually remember, these people, the majority of them are in their mid to early 20s. And so I don't think that they have enough life experience to even consider the things that you're talking about.
Mid to early 20s?
Yeah, some of them are like 22, 23, 25. They're young. These are barely legal bitches.
I don't. Damn.
Yeah.
That's like when I found out. Well, not found out, I guess, because technically I realized that maybe it was that I was older than Kylie Jenner. I was like, that's insane. Like, I've got years on Kylie Jenner. I look like I could be her child.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild. I'm like, what? Gorgeous person. But I'm like, how is this possible? It's like those memes of like me at 12, my like little cousin at 12. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, they're young.
That's insane.
Yeah, they're young. Anyways, so next question.
Oh, more questions. Oh, keep going.
Yeah, we've got many questions.
I love
How
it.
would you vote as a contestant? So
Okay.
if you were on there, we already know how you would play the game.
Yeah.
But would you vote as in either putting people into the truth booth, or as in picking someone to kind of sit next to you? Would you vote for couples that you are confident are matches, or are you voting just people who you like, or people who you're trying to see to confirm that they're not matching? What is your strategy when sending people into the truth booth?
Oh boy. Okay, well, I think I should start by saying when I would watch Survivor with my family as a child, I knew I'd never be good on these shows because I'm not actually strategic. I think I could do good at like running the numbers of like, oh, okay, well, then if they can't be, then the only person left are these two. And then if we think about it this way, like that stuff I think I'm okay with. I'm not very good at like strategy and like manipulating her. And I think I bring that up because I think it would depend. Like, I think if we were really confident about two people and it made more sense to do that than like throw in a Hail Mary shot or something, it's like at least then we could have like one couple secured that we're like, cool, cool, cool. We just needed to verify we know it. But maybe there's someone causing drama that's like, no, I refuse to match with anyone else. I know that we're a match, da 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 da. And maybe they only agree to separate a match with other people if we can confirm that they're not a match. And then I think you might need to lean into that a little bit and be like, okay, fine. But like you said it in front of me and everyone else that you would then agree to like break off. So if they would cause problems to how you would want to organize during the beam ceremony, then I think you do have to consider maybe if it's not like who I would ideally want to send in there, it's like, but if you're going to make our lives easier by us doing this, then at least it will technically show us if this is one or not. So I think it depends.
That's smart. So kind of like Survivor, you're using the truth booth to vote out the most
Yeah.
problematic person.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. I think I'd be way more concerned with the people making my life difficult.
Yeah. Okay. So we would find out who their perfect match is so that because that sends them out of the villa.
Yeah.
So they're not there to wreak havoc anymore. I think that's really good because there was one season that I remember that two people, they were found out to be not a match so early on, and yet for almost the entire season, they still just kept sitting next to each other and being together. And it's like, do you understand that the ceremony is an hour? And once it's done, y'all can go to the boom room and do whatever the hell you want. Like, just sit next to someone else, and they could not grasp that concept.
Are there ever stats where that would actually make sense though? Where like if you had like let's say 4 couples that you knew were like not verified, if you wanted to ensure at a beam ceremony like okay, we think like these two and these two, would there ever be a situation where you'd actually want those people to like mismatch and stay so that you could verify the ones that you're actually kind of changing in the equation? Because sometimes I think they try to change so much that it doesn't really lead anywhere. Because it's like you have 3 or 4 couples that are like, I really think we were the other beam or something, but it's like everyone flopped. So like, how do you even know? It's like changing too many variables at once. It's like, so maybe there are times where it'd be good to have like almost just the bombs that you know aren't going to work. So you're like, all right, if 2 of those go off, we know the exact 2 that they are without having to send them to I was going to say to the boom boom room, to the truth booth.
We got this. We could win the million.
I think we would do really good.
I didn't think about that. Now you're talking about Clue. How
Clue.
sometimes you just walk into like if you're playing. Have you ever played Clue before, like the board game Clue?
Yeah, I think when I was a kid, but yeah.
Well, when I was an adult, I still played it.
Well, I've heard it's fun. If I had it, I'd play.
I freaking love Clue. But anyways, so many times I will walk into a room that I already have the information on, and I will purposely. I'm giving away my freaking secrets here. So thankfully, only like 11 people watch this.
We have 12 now.
Shit.
We have 12.
Now I just need to make sure to never play Clue with these people. I will walk into a room that I have, and I will claim, like I will put up a weapon or a person that I also have, because I know for a fact no one can give me those cards. So it forces their hand to show me if they actually have something that I am looking for or not. And so what you're saying is if we did have 2 confirmed couples, we can now switch their partners, because here's the thing, like if you did want to mix and match people, that still gives you no information because you're potentially displacing another couple. And so you would have to get at least 2 couples that are confirmed and have them switch partners, so you know that even though they're mixed match and you won't get the lights for them, you still maintain that they're not messing anyone else up.
I haven't been tutoring in a while, but I'm trying to think if this is correct. If there are 16 couples, wouldn't you, like the possibilities of matching would be like 16 factorial, I believe. But then there'd be doubles that are just like the same couple but flip-flopped, I think. So you'd have to go through and take those out. But that's like a lot of freaking options.
Yeah, and especially in this season because they were fluid, right?
Yes. So
we're in
that
other
one would be
seasons.
super freaking complicated. Oh, good point. Because the other ones actually, it'd be way different because
Yeah.
they can actually only partner with like 8. So there
Right.
was like double. Damn.
So we got this.
I think we do pretty well.
We'd never be allowed on the show for it, but we got this.
No, we'd also be it's like anyone would actually try to talk to us or get to know us, and we'd be like, maybe later. But I'm really curious I have a few more questions for you. I would just be so unapproachable. Or if I did everything I needed to do for the day and my little job was done of investigate, then if someone were like, do you want to like play a game of pool? Or like, I need activities. I wouldn't do well at like whatever they're drinking. I could do like a fun mocktail on the beach or something. But I'd really quickly would be like, so what do we do?
Yeah, no, this is terrible. Their idea of a good time is truth or dare, which is always the worst game you can play on a show like this. Everyone wants to do it. They're always like sexually oriented.
No one ever picks truth. And it's like, that's our whole job,
Yeah.
is just truth. So I'm used to that all day. What's the worst thing that's ever happened to you? Like, what's something you would never tell anyone else? Like, that's my job.
Next question is, so a theme that seems to kind of come across here, and I don't know if the producers actually try to do or the experts try to do this,
Yeah.
but the contestants definitely thought that this was a good way of thinking, that they were constantly looking for their opposites. And so, for example, Kai, who we've been talking about through this entire show, was
Good old Kai.
very just off the walls. He's just a loose cannon. He actually ended up getting paired with Danny, who was the most reserved, calm, and collected one. And so you have these polar opposite people. Do you think that finding your opposite is a good match?
This is another one of the questions that, like, I don't know how to answer. I think it can be. And I don't know if it means finding your opposite. I think probably who you will end up with will have drastic differences than you in certain ways that are very good at balancing you. And I really love Imago, one of the couples theories that we've talked about. I do love Imago, who is very strongly like, you are forever searching for whichever one of your primary caregivers was basically like the worst of the two. It's like you are forever looking to fill that void. And so by default, I think that means you're probably looking for, maybe like the opposite of you isn't the right word, but you're looking for something that you didn't get. And I'd assume if it was someone you couldn't see, but I'm trying to think, I don't know, maybe if that meant like you couldn't trust that primary caregiver. I think it could go multiple ways. Like maybe you're looking for someone who can fill that void, but you may or may not be someone who's now very guarded and doesn't really trust anyone, or maybe you're overly trusting. So I don't know. I think people will be your opposite in many ways. And that does not mean that they are a bad match for you. I also think sometimes people looking for someone who is too similar to them is not the best move. But I don't know if I'd just sum it up and say that you should go out and look for your complete opposite.
Fair.
Damn, that's a hard question.
They're good questions.
Go look for your mother or your father that probably left a void in you that you will talk to me and Danny about, and we'll piece apart why maybe we're having repeating patterns in some of your relationships.
Sure. What you're referring to in Imago is the disowned self.
Yes.
And that's what I do think that this does kind of represent. So I'm in total agreement with you. I think you hit the nail on the head. Oftentimes, opposites attract. We have statements like, you complete me, that you're my better half, because you represent the part of me that I don't have access to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what is so attractive about partners like this. You know, Kai did not have access to fucking executive functioning, whereas Danny did not have access to his little wild side. And so is it attractive to see someone be able to so freely exhibit the things that you can? Like, for example, I'm a huge introvert. I'm a very, very quiet person. I'm a very, very chill person. And so I will tell you, on the surface, I find people who are very energetic, charismatic, outgoing, I find them to be very attractive. That is a quality that I struggle to really embody. And so I think it's beautiful when people are just the life of the party. If you look at many of my closest friends, and even if you were to take a look at just you and me on this podcast, right? I'm definitely a lot more kind of quiet, calm, whereas you bring a lot of the energy to the show. If you look at who my closest friends are, and I include you in that, a lot of people would be actually very confused, and I've been given that feedback before. They will look at us and they will say, "You like how the hell did you two guys end up together?" And it's because, one, I'm comfortable in my own skin, and you're comfortable in your own skin, so that we can be who we are. But I find it very attractive and good to. I love being with someone who is the opposite of me, so that I don't have to be. I don't have to worry about bringing all the energy to the room. I get to just ride the wave. I think being matched with your opposite is a smart idea, but I don't think that they take it far enough to actually have it be beneficial, because what tends to happen, and what I think happens a lot in shows like this, is that in finding their opposite, they end up making them responsible to be all those things that they can't be. And in a long-term relationship, this just drains you so fast.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I like the example you gave of Kai and Danny, because like, yes, in theory, I can totally understand that. Or like, I get why you're friends. And it's funny because I'm actually the introverted one, and most of my friends are like very extroverted. But if they were extroverted in a way that I felt like disrespected by, or it's like you keep putting me in situations that like I have told you I'm uncomfortable with, like I don't like it, like then that wouldn't work. Because it's like, sure, yeah, we're opposites to the point that like I can't even interact with you and you make me so uncomfortable. Like Kai and Danny in any real universe, unless things are depicted very different than they were on the show, I just don't see Kai being like, wow, I'm learning from all of these ways that Danny is. And I want to embody that in some ways, or we're teaching each other things and like actively kind of working on ourselves. Like that's where I can't think of anyone I've ever worked with that wouldn't describe themselves as like opposites, to be honest, even if they have a lot of similarities. And same thing, random Snapple fact, morning and night people. I have never once dated someone nor worked with a couple that both of them were morning people and both were night people. One is always a morning person, one is always a night person. Not to say that that's like, it doesn't exist. But I just, like in a way, that also shows opposites. And so I think it can be a very, very healthy balance for people that are ready to work, like, or have the introspection to realize like, oh, like I really am jealous of how like he can carry himself like this. Like I have always struggled with that. And then if you're the kind of person to build me up and is like, hey, like do it, like you've wanted to, and like this is really good, like tell him about it. It's like if you have that person that can help you grow in that way, and you're introspective enough to know how you've wanted to grow in that way, and you're putting in the work, I think it can be beautiful. But I don't know, and this is no judgment against Kai, but if Kai's truly not really wanting to super change themselves, or like date in a super serious capacity, I wouldn't just go out there looking for my opposite. Like it'll probably cause way more issues because you don't really want to change anything.
Yeah, beautiful point. Yeah, very, very smart. Yeah, great.
These are hard questions, because these are ones that are like, I wish I had some beautiful, eloquent answer to, and I'm just like, oh God, this is so convoluted.
No, I think you're doing a great job.
Oh, thanks, Danny.
I think you were doing a great job, and I think that a lot of people are learning a lot just by listening to you right now. So
you too. You know all the big words. It's funny. I'm in my head. I'm like, I've read all those books. I know all these terms. And you're just like, Ollie, you're referring to the cognitive dissonance that is described by the luteal phase. We should know. It's page 32 in the DSM. All therapists know this. It's like you just come in as like the doctor. And I'm like, I promise I've got a license. You can look me up.
That's great. Yeah, no, you're doing great. We make an amazing team. So do you think that interviewing your families, your friends, and your exes would be a good source of information to figure out who you should be with?
Oh, no. Because I'm literally just trying to think of, my grandmother would just pick anyone who speaks Spanish. My sister probably has opinions. Honestly, my sister might be a good one. But she'd probably have opinions about me that I'm like, damn, like, you told them that? Or I'm like, what? Like, you told them I need this kind of person? I think my dad would just pick anyone nice. Or I don't think he really knows. I love him, but we don't talk about this stuff. my mom's so disconnected. There's no way. I don't know. Like, I definitely don't ask my exes. I feel like, fuck that bitch. I don't know. In theory, I want to say yes. Like, I think asking close friends or maybe people that know that part of your life, or I do think family maybe would have certain, like about your messiness, or I don't know, like how your relationship with finances has been. Like, I think that there's some high kind of bigger things that maybe families could give good insight to that have known you like your whole life. But I don't know. A nice ex maybe would be like great, but I don't know if any of mine would help. I think they'd be like, what will make us burn this bitch to the ground? I don't know. Maybe for some people. I'm gonna say not for me. Please don't ask them.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, fair,
But in theory, I think you should be able to at least ask some information from some people. I don't know how deeply I'd interview exes and your parents if it's like, what if they haven't really been in contact or like know much about you on that level at all?
Sure. I think certain questions is the key word.
Do we know what they asked them?
I don't. And that's like still my looming issue with this show. I don't know what they asked. I don't know how they collected their information.
If any of the 12 of you that listen to us know the questions that they ask the contestants' families before letting them on Are You the One, we'd love to hear from you in an email.
Yeah.
Because that's, I would be, well, same thing with the frickin', what did they say? The personality tests. Like, what personality tests are we giving that would be helpful here? Sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they're asking. I don't know what an interview is like. I know that they do bring up some of those things when they play some of the games.
Yeah.
And so they'll say like, which one of you has ghosted someone? We've talked to your exes, and so here's the like text exchange. Now you guys get to pick who do you think actually said this. And so I know that they have conversation. I can assume that they have conversations with these people, but like what questions are they asking? What information am I getting?
But they're getting like text exchanges from exes?
Yeah, like it's a lot more informal, and I don't think that that is a good way.
But like the text exchange between them and the ex, not like screenshots of you and your ex's texts like 5 years ago.
Yes, yeah.
That seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're probably just like a totally different person anyway. But like, I don't think that that's, maybe if your ex was like a week ago. But that to me, it does not seem like an accurate representation of probably like, I'm assuming the texts that they're showing on TV are like, someone was not in a good mood. It was probably some kind of a fight or a breakup or a, it's like something dramatic. You're probably feeling some kind of way. Also, if you said the most of these people are super young, what if those texts were when they were like freaking 19 years old? I don't think that's an accurate representation of what they're like now.
Yeah, and in general, I think the same thing. So whether it be their family members or their friends, I think that they can provide good information as to just who they might be as people, like what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. But I do wonder how many of this would just be colored by what they want for this contestant.
That's what I was kind of thinking. That's why I was like, oh, geez, like, don't ask them. Or like my grandmother would just answer every question like, you find Olivia a man who can speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. And then they're like, ma'am, we didn't ask you that. And she's like, ay, pero pick someone who their Spanish is good, maybe Italian too. It's like she just will be on her own. She'd be doing her own thing. So yeah, I thought it meant like input as to who would be good for them, or like. But I think just overall, like character traits, like why do you feel like you guys have been friends for so long, stuff like that. I think could be like good background kind of stuff. But it'd be really hard, especially for a show like this. I think even if you were genuinely trying to make matches, you don't know how someone's going to show up on a game show. Like, what if it's like, oh, geez, like this is not how anyone depicted them, nor how they depicted themselves. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I'm with you. Last question, let's wrap things up, is what are you taking from this show to the Ollie and Danny relationship show?
I like the idea of a cash prize. I just think a fun reward, cash prize is fun maybe. But other than that, sadly, I actually like this one if you look at it in terms of a game show. I think that's fun. But I don't think anything about it actually said dating show.
Okay, fair enough.
And we're not having a boom boom room. So I think the only thing I can really take is the idea of maybe some kind of cash prize. I don't know.
What would they be? How would they be winning this cash prize?
I don't know. I haven't thought that deep. I do just like some kind of reward system. Okay. But maybe that means if they find someone that they connect with, they get, like, if they're not from the same city or something, they get, like, gifted a little trip to spend more time together
Okay.
and get to know each other. I
All
don't
right.
know.
If those who do end up in genuine relationships at the end will be given a trip.
Yeah, we help support their next step in
Okay.
like supporting and hoping that they stay together, maybe.
All right. Fair enough. Cool. Awesome.
What would you add? What would you add to our show?
I'm okay. I think we have to flesh out what they're actually getting a prize for, but I'm okay with the cash prize. What I would really take from the show is a more frequent and regular sex expert.
Duh. Yes, totally agree. I like regular check-ins. And I don't know how long these shows are, but if they're like a month, I think you should have the person there like every other day. Like not like if it's a true dating show.
Yeah.
Whether it's more of a check-in type or whether it's more of a like educational exercise type. But yes, oh my gosh, duh. Okay, yeah, that's the one thing I really liked from the show. I just thought it was very funny that out of all of them, it shows up in this one where it's like, this isn't even the primary fucking focus.
Yeah, that's what I'm taking. This was
Yay.
fun.
I love these. What's the one we're doing next week?
Next week, we are actually doing the perfect match.
Oh, perfect match. Watch me by accident just watch another fucking season of Are You the One? And be
Yeah.
like, I thought it was the same thing. No,
Yeah,
just kidding.
make sure that you are watching the right one because this has been super confusing. This one, even though perfect match is said 100 times per episode, this was called Are You the One? We will be finishing up this little mini summer series, and again, I promise we will actually get back to our jobs and dive back into the mental health field, but we're going to be finishing up this little mini summer series with perfect match.
Love that it's a summer series. I think this is so enjoyable, and I'm never going to get over the fact that you started it. And I love this for us.
Okay, all right, see you next week.
Yay. See you next week for Perfect Match. Bye, Danny.
Bye.